It's 1st and 10 for Notre Dame. There was a touchback on the last play and a big hitter right out of the break. Audric Estime is going to go the distance. An 80-yard touchdown.
Good cutback in the line of scrimmage. Audric Estime still rolling inside of Tennessee State territory.
On 4th and 16, Estime is loose. Audric Estime, touchdown Notre Dame.
I'm Alex Johnson. This is Yards Per Fantasy, and today we're talking Notre Dame running back Audric Estime. We're going to dive into his background and college career, discuss the positives and negatives in his prospect profile, try to determine his dynasty value, and if and where you should target him in your rookie drafts. Audric Estime, he's a running back out of Notre Dame. He's 21 years old, he's a junior, and he's listed at 5'11", 221 pounds. Audric Estime was a dominant runner at St. Joseph Regional High School in New Jersey. As a senior, he amassed more than 2,000 yards from scrimmage and 24 touchdowns. And he was named the New Jersey Football Player of the Year in 2020. As a four-star prospect, Audric Estime received 18 offers, including from Michigan State, Arizona State, Louisville, Pitt, and others. He originally committed to Michigan State before pivoting to Notre Dame in the summer of 2021. He played minimally as a freshman, touching the ball just 7 times in 12 games behind starter Kyren Williams. But then Williams left for the NFL in 2022, which left the RB1 job up for grabs. No one really seized that role as Audric Estime and Logan Diggs split the carries with some help from Chris Tyree as well. Still, it was Audric Estime who was the most efficient runner, leading the team with 920 rushing yards and 11 touchdowns. He also caught 9 passes for an additional 135. Audric Estime took charge of the backfield in 2023, though, starting 12 games and toting the rock 210 times, which was 100 more than any other running back on the team. His 1,341 rushing yards were good for the 5th most in Notre Dame history, and his 18 touchdowns broke the school record, which had stood since 1984. And Estime showed a little bit more in the passing game as well, with 142 yards on 17 receptions. And that was enough to earn second team All-American. But let's talk about the positives, the things that we like in Audric Estime's profile. The first is his size. He's 221 pounds. This is a big running back, and it's no surprise that he has good strength and he runs with power. He also has good patience and contact balance, and he averaged 1.83 yards per team play in 2023. The high-end threshold that I look for is 1.9. He falls just short of that, but he's really close. And he accounted for 30.5% of the team's offensive touchdowns in 2023. On the negative side, Audric Estime lacks speed, plain and simple. We saw him run a 4.71 40 at the NFL Combine. That is not good. And don't come at me with those fake pro day times. 4.71 is official, and that came out to an 89.8 speed score. And out of all the athletic metrics for running backs, speed score is absolutely by far the most predictive to future success. It's not the end-all be-all, but it is important. And if you fall below a certain threshold, which Audric Estime does, the hit rates get really low. On top of that, he also lacks explosion. He's an unproven pass catcher, and he had just a 7.5% reception share in 2023. I really like these guys to hit 10% at least. So we know we're not going to get big explosive plays, chunk plays from Audric Estime, and we know we're not going to get a lot of value in the passing game from him either. You can probably see where I'm going with this. But before we get into my NFL comp and my draft projection for Audric Estime, I just want to remind you that you don't have to wait until your rookie drafts if you want to get your hands on some Audric Estime shares. Underdog Fantasy makes it possible to draft these rookies right now. So if you like Audric Estime, go draft him. Or draft some Marvin Harrison Jr. or Malik Neighbors or Caleb Williams or Brock Bowers. These rookies are so fun to draft, and they present fantastic values in the 2024 drafts that are happening right now. And when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy, use promo code YARDSPER, and they'll double your first-time deposit up to $100. For archetype for Audric Estime, he is a grinder. He's the definition of a grinder running back. The NFL comp for him is Alexander Madison. And if you can believe it, he is a less athletic version of Alexander Madison. In my NFL draft projection, I expect him to come off the board on day 3. He could get as high as the 4th round, but after his athletic testing, I could see him dropping as far as the 6th. The bottom line is, Audric Estime is a bowling ball running back at 5'11", 221 pounds. He wins with size, strength, and a bruising downhill running style. He exhibits great patience behind the line of scrimmage, but just enough burst to get to the second level. Estime is difficult to bring down on first contact with impressive balance and a knack for always falling forward for additional yardage. He is absolutely not going down with a simple arm tackle. Where Estime lacks is in breakaway speed and overall explosion. He can take it to the second level, but he won't be able to consistently run away from NFL speed. And he will also have a hard time beating defenders to the edge on outside handoffs. But he doesn't completely lack athleticism. He has been known to dial up an impressive hurdle from time to time, for whatever that's worth. Estime displayed good hands at Notre Dame, but he was mostly used as a checkdown option and never showed the upside to develop into anything more as a receiver. I don't expect he will contribute much in the passing game in the pros either. At the NFL level, Audric Estime projects as a north and south between the tackles grinder running back. He will dominate in short yardage and goal line opportunities. Estime will likely operate in a committee, but he certainly has the frame to handle a heavy workload when called upon. Like I said before, he could come off the board as early as the 4th round of the NFL draft, could slip to the 5th or the 6th, and in Dynasty, he's looking like just a guy in the late rounds of our rookie drafts.